Let's take a look at how an Indian Air Force Rafale may have hit its assigned target and defeated the theoretically deadly P-15E missile using spoofing and decoy techniques. Rafale's Spectra suite actively scans and jams ground and airborne radars. Infrared Search and Track, or IRST, passively scans for air threats to maintain MCON or emission control. This way, it avoids early detection and remains stealthy with minimal radar cross-section. Upon reaching the standoff distance from the target, the Rafale climbs briefly to medium altitude for strike geometry and releases Scalp Egg or AASM hammer-guided bombs. The target is GPS plus terrain mapped, so the strike package is fire and forget. Missiles glide toward the target independently, and the Rafale can now egress. AWACS or Spectra. Electronic warfare detects multiple radar spikes from J-10Cs at long range. The missile approach. Warning systems, or MORS, comes alive and warns of PL-15 missile launch at 90 to 100 kilometers. At this point, the Rafale is now defending. The Rafale pilot performs a crank maneuver, turning about 30 to 45 degrees off axis to maintain radar lock while dragging the missile laterally to delay the closure rate. This move reduces the closure geometry and gives the Rafale a bit more time. The PL-15 is in its mid-course phase, guided via data link from the J-10. The Rafale now uses electronic jamming to disrupt the J-10's radar and the data link between the J-10 and the PL-15. So, at this point, Rafale turns on its digital radio frequency memory, or DRFM jamming system, which basically creates a bunch of false targets. The idea here is to either break the data link or confuse the J-10 radar's tracking picture. Now, the PL-15 missile switches over to active homing using its own onboard radar. The missile is now tracking the Rafale all by itself. In response, the Rafale launches digital radio frequency memory-towed decoys like the X-Guard TM, and to top that off, it deploys chaff clouds to clutter up the missile's radar picture even more. The missile is closing in rapidly. Rafale's Spectra electronic warfare system kicks in and activates spoofing countermeasures. The pilot then injects false range velocity signals into the missile's seeker, which is quite high-tech. This creates multiple radar returns by using jammers and cross-eye techniques, making it much harder for the missile to figure out which target is real. The PL-15 may actually lock onto the decoy or a spoofed target and end up missing the real Rafale. If the missile is still tracking, the Rafale pilot performs a notch maneuver by flying perpendicular to the radar beam to blend with ground clutter. The pilot might also execute sharp barrel rolls or split-S evasive turns as a last-ditch effort. The missile's seeker loses lock in ground clutter, or it overshoots because of its high speed and poor maneuvering at such close range. The PL-15 either ends up hitting a decoy, gets jammed, loses lock due to notching or spoofing, or just misses entirely because of the pilot's evasive maneuvers. The Rafale has successfully defended against the PL-15 and can now safely return to base.